damn fat is going on with you guys?
The Vikings.
You lucky suckers. What's a good-looking guy like you doing in a place like this?
You're unbelievable. And I
just always wanted to say that.
Yeah, you walked in here and said that before. You just said it. You didn't. You just had to say it on the air.
Yeah.
I told Nordo I would have said Gustav, and I would have been right, and I would have gotten $100. And I didn't even take you up on it.
Excellent. All right. Well, the Wild has a fourth-line centerman with the last name Shore. Do you want to play the same game? My 100 against your 10 for the first name.
Sure.
And if you say Paulie,
I always love that one.
Sweet bit.
No, I don't want to play that game.
All right, 3-2.
But Shore was a tough one. If you gave me, I went to the game last Sunday against the Bruins.
I know. That's what I heard. Super exciting game, too, 1-0.
I enjoyed it. Boldy is unbelievably talented.
Mm-hmm.
He really is.
Well, he's from Massachusetts, and with young Matthew, how about this? I mean, if you were Russo Radio or whomever covering
Joe Smith.
Yeah, Joe Smith covering the game at TD Gardens in Boldy's debut. It's like 2 or 3 years ago. This is I'm being serious here, and we're never serious, but I'm being serious. Boldy debuts and scores the game-winning goal
in his hometown.
With like 50 friends. I mean, game winner, walk-off.
Yeah, that's what sports writers.
How sweet is that?
If you're Michael Russo, that's one you remember.
What exactly is it you like about his game?
Boldy?
Yeah.
Like, the best way I'd describe it, it's like if you show up to a pickup game of basketball players, you just tell who's the most skilled.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just watched the ice and I'm like, this guy is able to spin, keep the puck. You know, there was like a fast break where he did this almost like saucer thing and almost put it in the back top right of the net.
Yes.
It was almost unbelievable. He just felt very like skilled.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Did you like his performance in the Three Nations?
I watched the championship game of the Three Nations.
No, it's called the Four Nations.
That's what I meant.
Got it.
You got it. That's so ridiculous.
No, you're the best ever. When I stop teasing surrogates, then that means we got a problem.
No, I can't believe you just got me on that. That's
back to
playing
Boldy.
slow.
Matt is a very good writer. He's a very accomplished writer when it comes to explaining the nuance of improving at hockey. His most recent tutorial book is called The Book of Matthew.
Nordo didn't even blink at that.
What does John say about Jalen Milroe?
I think he's a little iffy on Jalen Milroe. He's an unbelievable athlete, incredible runner, but has just not proven himself as a thrower of the football.
Your father, John, who's had season tickets to Alabama Crimson Tide football for 28 years. Watches all the games and attended the funeral of Bear Bryant. What's John's take on C.J. Dipray, a tight end?
Who?
C.J. Dipray, I think, or Dipper?
I think you got the wrong guy. I don't even know who that is.
No, I don't have the wrong guy because his name's right above Tyler Booker on this team sheet I'm looking at.
Now, Tyler Booker we could talk about.
Well, let's talk about it.
Tyler Booker is an interior offensive lineman who played at Alabama and was like the leader of the team under Kalen DeBoer. People talk about him like he is like one of the highest character guys in the draft. And I don't know if my dad has any intel to beyond that, but that's just what I can give you here. But I don't know about CJ. You might have just made up a random guy.
No, he didn't. No, 6'5", 260. Started out as a 3-star recruit.
Thank you.
Ooh, big body, finishing ability near the goal line. Sounds like projection. Now, this is from a couple of months ago. This is pre-combine. Day 3.
And every
scheme-specific contributor, that courtesy of the Draft Network.
Thank you.
Johnny Munt's a free agent. We got to think about all the positions here, not just QB. Might be CJ, the Bama kid.
I'm an elite college football mind, as everybody knows.
Yes,
specifically when it comes to the SEC and the Alabama Crimson Tide. When you head into the draft, you CJ Dipray for show, you Robbie Oots for dough. OUTZS. And get a cold shower ready for after you read this prospectus.
The funniest is his scheme-specific player, good motor, high energy, low to the ground, hips aren't stiff.
Oh, you read Dane Brugler this morning?
No, but it's just it's just you can't help but not laugh when you hear all this stuff. It's just the same over and over and over. It's just these phrases that just apply to all these guys.
Is one of your cohorts at The Athletic who writes about football, Robert Mays, is he stuffy?
Stuffy?
Yeah, like I met him at the combine and everything. And
I don't think he's congested, no.
No? Yeah. I'm not going to say we didn't hit it off. I'm not going to say we did hit it off, but it was just a little different. I mean, is he writing immortality with the... No, here's the deal, is I think he was offended I didn't know who he was. So he walked up and he's like, I got something here, VEN. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what's your name? And yeah, I didn't know his name.
It seems like you need to take this up with him. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not his agent.
No, don't lie. Bro, don't lie on radio. Lie off radio. You told me he ripped me at the Athletic night bit.
No, he didn't rip you. He said, he said, and this is verbatim, I met that Paul Allen guy. Man, he is just entered. He is a lot. I mean, that guy, he met you. I get it. Like my dad says all the time. Like, man, PA says some stuff. And I'm like, it just is. That's who you are.
Will you apologize to him for me I didn't know who he was? I mean, I'm sorry. It's like I said, what's your name? Because he was doing something with Tatum Everett and Vikings.com. So then he introduced himself. And I'm like, my bad. I thought you were Dan Pompei.
I always love that one.
He didn't like that. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I meant Mike Sando.
I always love that one.
Nice. You're just naming the entire Athletic NFL masthead. I don't know. What's the joke?
Do you, you know what I forgot to text you about last night?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know if this was possible to do, but I'm being serious with this. You know what we should have done this morning? Done an Alec Lewis podcast live stream at YouTube.
Ooh.
That would have been great.
Now?
I don't know if we can do that while we're on air. That'd be pretty tough.
You obviously haven't talked to Uncle Tim lately, the owner of First Resource Bank. He's very upset with the hits or lack thereof he's receiving from the podcast.
The hits have been great. We did 3 podcasts this week.
All with Bursich because you have no friends.
No, Bursich. And Diana Rossini was another one, and I got her on the podcast. So you're doing a lot of talking over there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But First Resource Bank, I will tell you, I saw my friends over at First Resource Bank this week, and you should hear some of the stuff about how well they're doing over there. It's got me very excited, and they care about the community. So yeah, the podcast, we could have done a live stream.
Yep.
And when you come on, it does like great numbers.
Tim Siegley, owner of First Resource Bank, dear friend of mine, emerging friend with Alec. We met at that Caribou across from Buffalo Wild Wings off Yankee Doodle earlier this week.
It actually is Yankee Doodle Road.
Yeah, we ripped you.
I always love that
It's
one.
classic that you're on Yankee Doodle Road. That just feels like
Because I'm your Yankee Doodle dandy? What are you doing?
It just feels very on brand for you.
Lost your mind.
So should we talk about the fact that the Vikings have a lot of decisions to make? Or
Sure.
Okay.
We could talk about, we can go as hardcore on the Vikings with the who, what, where, when, and why, and the R words and everything. The pertinent R words here with NFL free agency and like a time like now, there are more, but release, restructure, reduce, relocate, etc. So when it comes to the R words, let's begin with Robinson. Cam Robinson. What you thinking about Cam?
I haven't been thinking a lot about Cam.
Okay.
I think...
Darisaw goes down. He comes in, saves the season. Now all of a sudden you forget about him.
He didn't save the season. I think he gave up 21 pressures in the last 2 games. Now, he was on an island.
Penalty issues, too.
He had penalty issues, and he was on an island with the way they
get
won.
him cheap.
No, they're not. No. No. I know, and I don't know if he is going to be that cheap, but I will say...
Really?
And I give them credit for the move that they made, but... When you go back, and rewatch those last 2 games, Cam Robinson on an island, he's just obviously not Christian Darisaw. I think I remember being at the Friday football feast, and we were very, early on after he arrived, complimentary of his ability to blend in the way he did. And I think he deserved credit for that. But down the stretch with the burden that he shouldered as kind of singled up on the edge, it wasn't that pretty.
So where do you put that on the list of priorities in terms of bolstering outside of Walter Rouse, Cam? You've You've written at least 4 or 5 articles about how Cam Robinson needs to be kicked into guard from the tackle spot. I don't remember. Maybe that was Mays. I'm not sure.
I've been asked, like, even I'll get friends, like, could we do that, Cam Robinson to guard? I'm like, okay. So the answer to we need to fix our guard problem is let's try the guy who's never played guard at guard. What a brilliant strategy that would be.
Worked great for Joe Tooney in the Super Bowl, moving to left tackle.
It worked great for Mekhi. Worked great for Mekhi Becton. It did work great for Mekhi Becton in Philadelphia, but their offensive line coach is Jeff Stoutland, who was one of the best to ever do it.
So why are you ripping Chris Cooper?
Nothing against Chris Cooper, and it's nothing against Keith Carter.
He just lost his assistant and went to Jacksonville.
Right, Sean Starrett.
Yes.
But the Cam Robinson thing, what I would say, if you really want to talk about Cam Robinson, the headline would be the hope from the Vikings perspective would be that he signs for a solid deal elsewhere to put them in the best position from a comp pick perspective. That would be the Cam Robinson headline.
But then the priority of finding somebody to potentially open day one for Christian, that becomes a talker.
Yeah, I mean,
if Darrisaw is not ready, and we're just kind of projecting timelines here, but it sounds like it might be iffy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I really haven't. I know Christian Darrisaw's on schedule. I've seen him kind of some workout stuff that's been posted on social media, and then conversation in Indy.
You guys were hanging in the Lexus Club before a Timberwolves game. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, my God. Kirko, chill.
Christian, I saw him last year twice at 2 different Starbucks. So the guy likes Starbucks. I know that. But
you didn't start a fight with him, did you?
Darrisaw, he and I wrote a story when I first got here on him, like week 4 of that year. Pretty good profile. Talked to his mom. I remember, not good in that the writing was good. I'm saying that it was a long profile that I did. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a spot that is worth being mindful of is a backup tackle, and it's going to be interesting. But I mean, you asked about Walter Rouse. I do think like that could be. I don't know if the future for him is at tackle or if that guard transition could be more possible, but we'll see.
Hey, Byron Murphy Jr.
Yeah.
Byron Murphy Jr., is he an A topic?
I think so, for sure. I mean, besides the Darnold situation and then talking about like the guys that they could target, I know Byron Murphy Jr. wants to be back here, but I also know that he is due for a very big payday. And so the question is, would his representative, Zeke Sandu at Clutch Sports, prefer to take Byron Murphy Jr. to the market where he could probably get the maximum deal, or would they work together with the Vikings to re-sign him on a deal that makes sense for both sides? I think the Vikings would really like to get it done. It's just a matter of if they can find common ground on the number for a guy who's definitely going to cost.
Well, how much is it worth the fact that he's been here and he knows the bits with Flores in this defense versus another massive name out there would be DJ Reed. And I think he's like a year older. I think he's 28. Maybe Murphy's 27. Let's put him in that range. So DJ Reed, he's the second fiddle to Sauce Gardner, but he's also really awesome. And when the second corner to a superstar is still very good, that tells you a lot about how good that cat can be. How much is it worth if you're just thinking, okay, this is why I might choose Byron Murphy. If money's not necessarily an object, both of them are going to cost very, very much. The idea of bringing Murphy back because he's in tune and he's here versus I just think DJ Reed's the best, so I'm going to go and get him.
I think more than bringing Murphy back because he's in tune, I think it's because he can play on the outside, because he can play on the inside, because he can play the deep half when they run their ridiculous Tampa 2 drop 2 guys deep from the corner spot. Like Byron Murphy.
The inverted safeties bit looks crazy on film.
But Byron Murphy has the skill set to play multiple positions, whereas DJ Reed, and I love DJ Reed, and I remember after the Week 5 game, and I've written this, when they played in London against the Jets in Week 5, I remember hearing from a lot of people internally, like, I mean, that guy's very impressive. We really like that guy, but I don't want to say this because I really like what he does. He's a man cover corner on the outside, and it sure would be nice if the Vikings had one of those guys, but the versatility of kind of Byron Murphy almost acting like 2 different guys for this system on the field, that's where I think they feel okay with the value there and where he would be the preference.
What did Murphy scoop $17 million this previous season?
No.
Okay, what did he scoop?
I'm not sure what.
Okay, so it was not that number because it's like when you say break the bank, I know the cap's gone up and I know teams always are in search of corners. specifically slot preference, but you can put him anywhere. And Byron's scrappy. I mean, he had some problems. In fairness, FIBA, Fairness and Byron Murphy Act. He had some problems middle of the season.
Total at 10.9 against the cap. His salary was 8.3.
Thank you. Yeah, so you put those two things together, we're close to 17, which is stupid because that doesn't matter. Okay, 3-2. But like Murphy, remember that Love game, okay? I mean, like Jordan Love just was having his way with Murphy, and then Love decides to do what Love does and imitate Kyler Murray and throw up one of those pump passes, and Byron got him back of the end zone, then Byron poked it away from Tucker Kraft. From that moment on, Byron had a quality season, like a high-ender season. What are we talking here, like $20 million a year?
Well, I mean, that's a lot. Like, I'll just tell you this, and I was going through this yesterday, but, I mean, there are...
And the reason I bring it up like this, Alec, is they have to re-sign Byron Murphy.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, I'm a 9 of 10 on... I mean, I want him back, an 8 and 9 of 10 because there aren't many 9 of 10s out there. When it comes to their lot in life and what needs to be done, he has to be re-signed.
There are a lot of people internally that feel that way. You said $20 million. So there are 5 corners that make an average of $20 million a year. Jalen Ramsey, Pat Surtain, Jair did, AJ Terrell, and Denzel Ward. Like, I don't think Byron Murphy...
Byron's better than 3 of them.
Really? You think that?
Well, he's better than Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's seen his better days. He's a penalty machine. And, he's seriously.
I don't know about all that.
He's an anxiety attack.
I don't know about all that.
Really?
He's not better than Pat Surtain.
No.
AJ Terrell, you could probably argue.
Yes, he's better than
Ward,
him.
I don't think he's better than.
Correct.
I mean, the interesting number.
And Ramsey ain't trying to play inside. I mean, we're not making this a Jalen Ramsey, but
right.
Jalen Ramsey has been overvalued a majority of his career.
I'd be curious what Kevin O'Connell would say about that.
Well, why is everybody always giving him away?
Well, I mean,
because they don't want
him.
him.
Dollars. It's teams transit.
It's dollars and cents, as in SENSE.
I would like to go back, and you're going to make me this afternoon go watch Jalen Ramsey tape. honestly.
Yeah.
The interesting number to me, it's not 20. It's like, is 18 too much? Like, what I would say is, Diamador Lenore has been a pretty good corner for the 49ers, and he's 26 years old, so still young. And he signed for a round 18, was extended by the 49ers for a round 18 this past year. So, if Byron wants something like that, would the Vikings be willing to go to that number? I think that's really the question with him. But there are people internally. You said, like, you think it's you got to do it, 9 out of 10. I think there are people internally that would feel the same way. And I do think, like, if you could get something like that done before Monday, then it gives if you're the Vikings front office, it gives you a better roadmap of how you can then allocate the rest of that money. And it's the same thing with Sam Darnold. Knowing what happens there and with Byron Murphy would then give you, like, the paths that you can then go down beginning Monday.
Staying in the secondary, Theo Jackson gets a 2-year deal, $12 million, and it's actually kind of similar to the way that they handled Josh Metellus a couple of years ago. What does that tell you, if anything, in regards to Cam Bynum's future and maybe even Harrison Smith? I know Theo's a guy that they liked. Titans practice squad, I believe. They pick him up post-Lewisine, and he got in and got his reps in more 2023, I think, than last year for the most part, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But all the same, Theo Jackson gets paid. What does that tell you about Cam and Harry?
Yeah, I remember, I think last spring, you and I were doing like a Saturday show.
And we talked to Theo.
Yeah, and he was playing really well at that time. I mean, PA, you know this because you're out there at practice. Like, this guy has impressed really every time he gets his opportunity. He's been impressive. And so what it means for the safety room, to me, I mean, if Harrison Smith does come back, and I've said on this show, I said in Indy, I do think there's a strong possibility that happens, then to me, the safety room is probably looking like the 2 deep guys are going to be Harrison Smith and Theo Jackson, and then Josh Metellus will still occupy his box nickel corner slot defender role, and that would mean Cam Bynum is the odd man out because, I mean, and I've said this as well, like, his number and where his representatives have felt his number would be has not aligned with what the Vikings have been willing to pay him. Now, if Harrison were to retire, then I do think Cam Bynum is still in play. But to me, I think that was a pretty good sign of the commitment and the belief that they think Theo Jackson could contribute not only this year, but in the years to come as a deep half safety.
Alec, are the Vikings waiting for Harrison Smith to make a declaration, or is Harrison waiting for the Vikings to make a declaration on how much they think he'll play next year, like what his lot in life is?
I think in some ways the Vikings are waiting on Harrison Smith to make a declaration, but he is smart. And he's not going to want to put his body on the line if he does not believe this team can go really compete. And so I would imagine that he is observing to see what the Vikings do. Do they bring back Byron Murphy Jr.? What's the quarterback situation going to look like? Who else do they go sign? Now, at some point, the Vikings are going to have to know, because what they pay him affects the money that they can spend everywhere else, and it affects conversation with Cam Bynum and all that. But Harrison is a guy, and I remember sitting down with him last year before the season. We watched film together, and you could see and hear in the way he talked about the adrenaline that he loves on Sundays. And like, there's no replacement for that. He's flown plane. Like, this guy, like, I think he loves the idea, or I know he loves what Sundays are. And so for him to walk away from that, he's got to feel 100% like he just can't do it. And I think, like, you talk to Brian Flores, you talk to the defensive staff, they want him back because of how much he means to what they do on the field, adapting against whatever formations they face.
Lastly, for this segment and the safety dance, and we'll get into different things around the corner. If Harrison Smith and or Cam Bynum are not on this team next year, what do you think of, and how do you think it'd be super expensive to flirt with Justin Evans, safety?
I don't know much about Justin Evans. Justin Reed?
Justin Reed, thank you. Yeah, I knew I was making a mistake. Justin Reed.
Sure.
Safety KC. What do you think?
I like Justin Reed a lot as a player.
Justin Evans is a horse trainer. I was looking at a past performance, thinking after the radio show today, spotting up on him down New Mexico way, and I made a mistake.
Well, I was thinking about grabbing like a notebook and saying, okay, I got to watch Jalen Ramsey film. I've got to watch Justin Evans film.
You got to watch Snuggerud and Big Ten Tournament.
And Bob Motzko's crew. I mean, good Lord.
How can you not?
Yeah, and Gustav Nyquist and Brazo. Yep. Anyway, Justin Reed is a player who I think would fit Brian Flores' system well. Mm-hmm. And maybe if Harrison were to retire and if Cam Bynum were to sign elsewhere for more money, then maybe that becomes a conversation, but I don't feel like I need to go down that road at this point.
Why?
Because I do think Harrison Smith, I think there's a very high likelihood that he comes back.
Alec Lewis, The Athletic, theathletic.com. Also, the Alec Lewis Show. It's a podcast you can learn more about via his Twitter feed at Alec_Lewis. And also the show's on YouTube. It's the Alec Lewis Podcast, courtesy of First Resource Bank. Into the penultimate around the corner, you're listening to KFAN.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Before we get back to football with Alec Lewis, final hour 9 to noon, we should check in on the Minnesota State hockey tournament. In play right now, late stages of the first period. St. Cloud Cathedral up 2-0 on Orono. And, of course, with the free iHeartRadio app, you can check in on hockey action all day long. KFAN The Plus 96.7. You can dial that in loud and clear on the free iHeartRadio app. Kevin Fallness on the call. Is this the most exciting first-period goal you've ever heard in your entire life?
Back out at center ice, Caden Johnson looking for a man. He's wide open. Shoots! Scores! Dagger Wood takes the pass in the slot right at the hash marks. Bar down. Cathedral has the 2-0 advantage.
Ooh, every moment matters in the Minnesota State high school hockey tournament. Catch Fallness on the call. Cathedral up 2-0 on Orono. KFAN The Plus, free iHeartRadio app.
Alec.
You're calling the game Sunday night. Wolves, Spurs.
First, hold on. Let me, yes, 7 o'clock.
That is going to be electric.
Why you got to bring it up?
Because
How do you know it's going to be electric? I've never done it.
Because you're calling the game.
Well, I mean, what if the game's not electric?
Then you'll make it electric. Isn't that
you
your
make
job?
every game sound like the NBA Finals. Come on. Okay.
Who are you impersonating?
Is Brandon Powell a free agent?
I think so.
Okay. I'm not going to share it now.
Oh, boy.
I shared it with the con yesterday. I believe I have uncovered the Minnesota Vikings' next legitimate option to be the next Brandon Powell. And I'm talking about punt, and kick returns. Not that there are ever any kick returns, but punt returns, straight line speed.
You have my attention.
That isn't terrific. It's elite. But you gotta focus on the draft. And I'm gonna share that on Monday.
Oh, it's a draft player?
Draft player. Yeah. I'm down the road on the draft. You guys can trade for Joe Tooney and sweat how much money Byron Murphy Jr. is gonna get. I'm down the road on the draft.
You're evaluating special teams players in the draft? Who are you, Matt Daniel? Who are you?
I'm Dane Brugler.
Dude, Darren Rizzi?
And treat me with respect. Okay?
Team hasn't had a punt return touchdown since 2016, man.
Yeah, the special teams needs, punt returner, potentially punter. We'll see what happens.
Kick return 2016 as well, I think. That was Cordero.
No, Kane had one against New England on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, yes, 2022. My bad.
Perhaps what?
He ain't heaven. He's a punter.
How'd Ryan Wright catch a stray out of nowhere?
There was no stray. I'm just saying.
Everybody's been saying that about Ryan for years. And Big Boy just keeps on coming back and outplaying the odds. So
outplaying.
Because everybody's trying to get him cut every single year.
Well, here's what I would say.
Now that he's speaking to me now, so I can defend him, because after his first preseason game at Denver, when I called him the plus-size punter,
he ain't heaven. He's a punter.
He didn't speak to me for like 4 months.
The truth is,
he needed to lose weight.
No, he has not been as precise of a punter as you would like. Yeah, he can boot it pretty far. There's no question, but it's from a distance control perspective, and I'm not a punting elite mind. But I can tell you that
I come to talk to Alec Lewis, and a Matt Barr fan club breaks out.
No, I'm just saying that's
might have been a kicker though.
You win on the edges in special
here with Visika Hema.
Special teams can be a winning edge, and it has not been for portions of these last few years.
There were large portions at one point, but then then the portions decreased.
No, I'm not wading into these waters. All I'm saying is I'm not. All I'm saying is it's just from a production standpoint.
How badly you want to see the sheet that I have right here with 3 players who will be on the Minnesota Vikings in 2025. 2 drafted, 1 college free agent, and it out.
How is Rob Brzezinski?
Give me $300. I'll give you the sheet.
Yeah, I think I'm all right.
Okay. Oh, I was just going to give you some gift cards to Wildfire this evening to see what you were doing. Oh, I told you what it was. Dang it.
Wow, I get gift cards?
Okay, 3-2. If somebody's got to give you something, nobody around here gives you anything.
You said it.
We promote his podcast. That's really cool. By the way, what's coming up next on the podcast? Anything soon?
I did 3 this week. Next week is...
You did 3 this week?
Yeah.
Who'd I miss?
Judd Zolgad.
Oh, yeah. When was that?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Why you smile? I don't mind Judd.
I don't know. I don't know who knows who and who does.
Judd got to start in radio thanks to this station and this time slot. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's just the ways and means become rearranged.
Yeah,
let's put it this way. Let's just say I haven't forgotten. But anyway, no, it's a great source of information specifically on Minnesota Vikings football. Should get a lot of hits.
Sam Darnold, should we talk about him?
Sure. Yeah, Shefty Dagger did this morning.
What did he dagger?
Okay, Shefty. Sam Darnold, where's he going to play next year? Paraphrasing. I don't think Sam Darnold knows. Okay. 0 to 10. Give me a number as to his inclusion on the Minnesota Vikings. He said pretty low. And I said, I'm with you on that. He daggered it.
So that was, I want to ask you, just like, if the market is not the $40 million a year, like, what do you think about it if the market isn't what maybe?
Great question. Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because like Nordo and I were talking about some things like why do these, mostly nationals, but some locals too, with all due respect to anybody, but like with you and Ben, a couple of members of 9 to Noon, it's I'm looking for everything on this or Doogie. Doogie's elite. And I've just seen a fair amount of still alive. And I'm like, why? Like, how? You just said something I didn't even think about, is that if it's like the market is so suppressed and diseased, and like say he wants to be here and it actually is financially equitable, yeah, I can understand that. But as you and I discussed on the radio at training camp last year, and I didn't come right out and like be speak for team guy, because I'm not that guy. McCarthy never was starting week 1 at the Giants. Never.
I didn't think so.
He never was starting week 1 at the Giants. Okay. MCL or not, meniscus or not. So that was Darnold's money. Well, that's not the situation this year. Because what if there are some that believe with a little bit of work, Daniel Jones might be better than Sam Darnold? The people who tell me that, they get the benefit of the doubt until they fail. Okay, with what they got out of Dobbs, what they're squeezing out of Rippon behind the scenes, and what they squeezed out of Darnold. These guys get the benefit of the doubt until they fail with a quarterback. So if I'm to believe that there are some who are like, what if Jones is better than Darnold? I'm not going to argue because they're hitting home runs with these situations. Now, I'm not going there. If you I'll tell you. Why? I'm just not going to go there. Okay, well, somebody wanted to argue with me via Twitter yesterday, like, Paul's an idiot. He said Daniel Jones is more accomplished than Sam Darnold. Well, that was Darnold before last season, okay? Okay, he is. Okay, he is. He was a first round pick. Bust tag, New York market. And Jones, with some things he's done in his career, were better than Sam Darnold with Carolina and the Jets. The playoff game here compared to Sam's playoff game. Yeah, Vikings defense had a lot of trouble at that stage of the equation. Not just at that stage. From Buffalo on. At a lot of stages of the equation. Yeah, and remember when Chandon Sullivan, trying to stop Saquon Barkley in that playoff game, he was in the right spot. I don't even know who he was pointing to. He was so mad at somebody during the play, pointing, go, go, go. There goes Saquon. Yeah, Chandon Sullivan trying to stop Saquon Barkley. That's like me seeing Darisaw at Starbucks and starting a fight. You mean the Lexus Club? No, I think, the interesting aspect of it is, like, if we talk about the market, and let's just say the market for Sam is not what the expectation was. Mm-hmm. I mean, then that's fair. And then it becomes a question of, like, if you're Sam, let's just look at it from Sam Darnold's perspective. If you're Sam and the Raiders come calling, then, I think you look at that situation and Chip Kelly's interesting and Pete Carroll's very likable and there's aspects of it that you can get on board with. Yeah. The Giants, if they come calling to Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold's probably not going back to New York, and that regime could be gone by 6 weeks into the season. Yeah. If the Steelers come calling, I think there's reason to be skeptical about what they are offensively because of their skill players. If the Titans come calling, there's reason to be skeptical if you're Sam as well. So it's just a very interesting situation. I think the assumption was for some time that Sam Darnold was going to have this Baker Mayfield type contract. I think the reality is the way you talk to people in the league, it doesn't feel like there is a team willing to commit to him for much longer than 1 year. Be interesting to see what's next for Big Brain Brock, because if out of nowhere he's not on the Niners, that would be pretty interesting.
I can't wait until tomorrow, 'cause tomorrow might very well be too late. I can't wait until tomorrow.
With Darius Alexander. Read this at The Athletic, theathletic.com. Alec is in mock madness mode. With the 24th pick in the 2025 National Football League draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo. A lot of great defensive tackles will come out of Toledo. How'd you come up with that name?
I actually traded down, so it wouldn't have been the 24th pick.
Oh, you
it
did?
would have been,
You had to trade down to get a defensive tackle from Toledo.
I did kind of a finesse where I could get another second round pick. Probably not realistic, but I wanted to have my first 3 picks: defensive tackle, running back, and interior of the offensive line. Those are,
North Carolina offensive tackle on Jatarian's Arian.
You're talking about the running back?
Yeah. What's his name?
Marion Hampton.
Okay.
That's my favorite player in the draft.
You think he'll be there around 24?
I don't know.
Yeah, I got steam on him. I got local, not from the locals, but local-ish steam on
that is my favorite. I watched film of him maybe 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I think I was at home. Mm-hmm. I was watching film of him. And I mean, it makes you want to stand up out of your chair.
Jeez.
Guys, vision, power, 3 down back, catches the ball, pass blocker. I like him.
Can we see you next week? You going to be around?
No.
Oh.
You can call me.
Okay, cool. Where are you going?
I'm going to spending time with my dad. We're going to the SEC basketball tournament. We used to do it every year. Yeah, haven't done it in a while.
Alabama has a squad too, right?
The SEC this year is phenomenal. We haven't done it in a while. I kind of want to spend time with them.
Great.
So.
Well, tell John to dust off his game-worn Antonio McDyess. You dust off your game-worn Latrell Sprewell. I'll watch it wearing my game-worn Big Shot Bob Horry.
You're ridiculous.
And go Crimson Tide. Have a good weekend, all right?
Enjoy Sunday. That'll be fun.
Can't wait. 7 o'clock KFAN. That's the next time I'll be on the radio. Calling the Wolves and Spurs, filling in for Alan Horton. Can't wait. Listen if you can. Here comes Big Daddy Khan to put a wrap on the show.
Big boy's back. Just listen. Just listen.
The Friday feast in the books, it was eclectic. The pace was frenetic, man. It was almost hectic. Adam Schefter joined with plenty to say. Minimal interruptions. It wasn't dry cleaning day. And thank goodness, we're all thankful for that. Making Sam sound pockets turned out, holding his hat. And what a year for him. Highly touted and vaunted, but now so few teams making him feel wanted. Chad Greenway at 9. He's always game. How is he not in the Iowa Sports Hall of Fame? Parker Fox had his final game at the barn. Then Gorgomatic spinning a web of hockey yarn. And Alec Lewis, he's guaranteed to giggle. PA trying to make him jump, make the love handles jiggle. We're bored until Monday, begin the legal tampering. In the meantime, PA at the spa for some pampering.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.